We have our new mist collector here for the lathe, and it doesn't exactly fit the lathe, of course, or no mist collector does, I suppose. Here we have the lathe, and up here on top there is a cover that goes into the machining room. And we need to make some sort of contraption that makes the mist collector fit up here. Most people I've seen put it back there, but that involves ducting, and I don't want ducting. So there will be some sort of sheet metal thing here. Here's our little jigsaw puzzle. Of course, I didn't have material big enough for the base, so I have to weld it up. And once it's welded, I'll cut a hole and turn it to the same diameter as the intake on the lathe. Here's the little welding fixture. I'll clamp the pieces to about a 10mm thick flat bar. There's no way I can weld and video at the same time, so I'll be back after it's welded. I think the weld came out okay. The plate is pretty flat, so it should be okay. My welder is still cooling down. I doubt it's really meant for continuous welding in 10mm plate. I've done it before too, and first problem I get that the welder is running or the cooling fan is running continuously isn't really a problem, but the torch gets too hot to hold after a while. But this piece went okay. Drill the hole, big drill, and we'll turn the hole to 149mm. We have just a little clearance, as you can see there. We won't run into the shock too much. Found a good combination of feeds and speeds here. Build both sides flat now. It was about maybe a millimeter or something out, maybe a little bit more, 1.5. So I milled it flat. I'm going to use a gasket between the machine and this plate, but still I wanted it a little bit flatter, and now I'm ready to drill the holes. I'm drilling the last hole in the bolt circular now. So the plate just needs deburring, and then we can continue with the project. It's going to be sheet metal welded to this plate outside the bolts because we need somewhere for the oil to drain. So the plate is finished. I'm not going to use these screws, those were just original screws for that plate. I'm going to use normal socketed cap screws because I'm going to weld here, so I don't want the big head. So it's just a matter of continuing the build up to. We need to get the mist away extractor above this here, or above this, as you can see, because we're going to make a plate that goes along here, and we need to bolt the whole thing down there. So the front of the mist away extractor will be about a little bit inside this edge, and the depth of the extractor is more than from there to there, so it will overhang here a little bit. So the bottom of the it will overhang this to about there. So we need the bottom of the extractor need to be about this level. So we're going to build ourselves up here from that plate. Not quite sure how it's going to be yet, but we'll see. I made the 3 first pieces of sheet metal. This is basically how it's going to be. Now I'll tack these in place. And I'll just continue on with the other pieces. I guess I don't know how many pieces I need, but probably 10 more in addition to these that I already have. We'll see. I've been cutting and welding, and cutting some more. And the outside is almost done. I need to join this to the bottom piece. And then I need to make the slope and the slope parts inside here. So the oil that returns from the separator and goes into the hole and doesn't collect in here because it will be sitting at an angle at the top. I'll put it back there now and we'll see. I made a gasket for the bottom piece. And I will try to figure out where to weld them, the 2 pieces together. It's going to be a critical operation here. I need to do that before I start welding the slopes, I think. Here we have the contraption mounted, or it's not really mounted, but it's sitting where it's supposed to sit. Now we need to start making the slopes from there up until about there. 1 slope there and 1 here. I need here, yes. I need to cut away a little bit of the bottom here to make that slope go from there to about there. And then the front here. So these 3 sloping panels will meet in like there and there. And then we'll put the top on, which I've already made. That's the same shape as the mist, or the mist away. After I got my live tools, or when I ordered them, I got informed that I needed a filtered coolant down to less than 30 microns. So to get things going, I made up this coolant setup here, or coolant filtration setup. That's the main pump for the coolant to the tools, and that's just another pump that is for ship flushing. So this is where the coolant goes to the tools. So originally it just went into the machine in this tube here, but now it goes around there and then into this filter and then back to there. So this is just a cheap filter I bought. It's 20 microns. The pressure doesn't seem to be reduced much, and the filters are really cheap, so I can change them like every week if I want. So this will have to do until I build a proper setup with the bag filter or something. Just made this bracket here to hang the filter from, so it doesn't just lie around on the floor. Made some cardboard templates here now. They're not perfect, but they're kind of soft and bendy too, so I will need to modify the metal pieces a little bit, I suppose. It's just a matter of cut out the metal pieces, and then we'll start the difficult process of joining everything together here, or joining the bottom plate and the back part together with the rest. So I scribed a fine line along there. There's a line here and here too, so I just need to line everything and then weld it up. I think I'll start with about 3 or 4 tacks up there and one down here. I don't, or there, maybe there, and the middle there, and in the middle over there. I don't intend to weld the bottom here until, or along these edges, until I have got the side slopes finished too, because then I'd have just a little bit of wiggle room when I'm going to mount it or weld it to the bottom plate. Sometimes you get lucky. I had a little bit of an incident here because there was a reflection of the edge that I thought was the line I had scribed on. So I had to cut away the first weld I did, but then I did 5 welds, one there, and 3 on this side. Then it's just perfect. So I will try to cut out this here. I already see that I need to cut away more of this plate. The right side came out okay, not perfect. It's good. This joint here is good. This joint is good. But we have a little gap there because this corner must be a little more than 90 degrees. But we need to seal it up before painting anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I'll put seal there because the return oil from the separator will drain down here and hopefully end up back in the machine. So I'll try to cut away a little bit there and then we'll make the left part. The left side came out pretty good too. Just a little bend in it. So and we have cut too much out there. That was done before I did the final cleanup on the plate underneath. So I just need to weld in a little triangle there. I'll do that before I weld in the side plate, that one and that one. And after I welded in the 2 side plates, I'll take it up here again and just see how everything lines up with the bottom plate. And then I guess I'll just have to do some tacks and see if it fits. The worry I have is that if we get some misalignment during the welding, this plate sits down here against the sheet metal of the machine. That sits there, so that could be too high or too low. I guess that one being too low wouldn't be that critical, because then this would just be a little bit high. But the other way around, that would be high, and then we will have a gap here, so that's not good. But we'll try to avoid that. I've tacked all the inner pieces, so I'll just fit it one more time and see if it's everything lines up good. And then I'll do a few more tacks. One there, one there, one there, one there, and one there, and join the bottom and the back sides. And guess I'll need to fill in these triangles here and here too. Everything is welded or very close to. I need to put one tack there, one there, one there, and one there. There's just a little bit give here. And I need to fill that gap. Cut off this extra edge there. But it's pulling down tight against the gasket. And it's really sturdy. So it seems like it's working. After I've done these tacks, I'll go over with the sander and sand everything inside here. And I'll weld on the top, and then we'll sand the outside. And then it's time for paint, I guess. I've welded everything up except the top, and I've gone over it with the sandpaper, so the paint should have something to stick to. So now I'm going to use spackle and seal up everything, and then weld the top on. I should probably paint it in 2 goes, but then I'll mess up the paint again, and yeah. So I guess I'll just try to paint it through that hole afterwards. I'm about done with the spackling now. The last step, of course, went really badly. I had used my normal 2-component spackle here, or putty, or whatever you want to call it. It's really good. Easy to sand, and it's a little bit thick, so it's not easy to do really fine work with it. But anyway, I have done that and sanded it back. Then I was going to just use a fine putty on top to fill in minor gaps and such. As I was saying, here is the usual spackle I use, 2-component, very good. But it's little thick, so it's not so easy to do really fine finish work with if you want to fill in something small without sanding a lot. So usually I use this 1-component rapid filler, very nice, easy to sand and fast drying everything, so that's good. But then I didn't have that in the shop, so I bought this stick rapid filler. Yeah, fast drying. Yes, and it's sandable and paintable after 1 hour. It says it's really thin, too thin really, so that's the first drawback. Second drawback is that it's not possible to sand it even after 24 hours. It just gums up the sandpaper, and it's like acrylic or something, and it cracks. It says you can fill up to 2 millimeter thick, but if you have more than 0.5 millimeter, it cracks up. So this is the worst crap ever used when it comes to spackle or putty. So avoid that at all costs. Anyway, now I'm going to weld the top on, and then it's painting time. So it's welded. I just need to grind back the tacks a little bit, and then we'll start sealing up that joint all around here. Should be easy enough. The reason I also want to make this joint here sealed or oil proof or whatever is that the drain back from the mist collector isn't, it's really not a drain, it just drains back here through the hole and then it can go there and underneath and get out from there. So I want to seal everything. There's going to be a gasket up here that comes with a mist collector. Just had to do a little test fitting before paint and final filler and spackle. Still fits. I'm ready to paint here. All the spackling and stuff is done, both on the outside and inside. And I'm going to start with the inside and then do the, or this side, outside here and inside there, and then I'll have to flip it over and do the other side once the primer is done on this side. I debated whether I should prime it or not, but I don't dare do it without primer. So the primer is on. I've painted the inside too, but there is a little bit underneath there that I couldn't get to, or I couldn't see rather. So once it's dry, I'll flip it over and then we'll paint it with a correct color. It looks kind of white in the video here, but it is a lot more brown when it's in real life. I started painting here. Usually I rub down this primer so it's flat, but this paint goes on really thin and smooths out nicely, and the machine has a kind of rough finish like this primer. I don't know if you can, yes, you can see that. So I want to keep the roughness of the primer through the finish paint. We'll see how it turns out. Put the first coat on and we definitely need another coat. And we need to paint the underside, at least one coat, so there will be 2 more goes and hopefully we'll be done. We got the second layer of paint on. After the first layer, I checked the color and it's not 100%. So after it has dried, I will test fit it and see how it looks compared to the rest of the machine, and decide from there if we're going to complain and get a new color mixed. And here's a bracket for the coolant filter that I painted. So it's just a matter of waiting a couple of days for it to dry. I think the texture came out okay. It's a little bit rough like the rest of the machine.